Therefore, this is the part 2 of Okudzeto Ablakwa, the National Cathedral Expose, American edition. If you don't know what's going on, Okudzeto Ablakwa etu kwan ekwa America. Okotua National Cathedral Expose no Okotua so. Now the latest one awodeba no asem tenten ni titi mu ane se Okudzeto akwa find out say the National Cathedral na ewo America no say nipa baako a yakwa register ewo ni din emu National Cathedral of Ghana ewo America no nipa baako a yakwa register ewo ni din mu no eyo obi a wo wu ye 2014 de baako no kra onye Ghana ni oye Latino yakaso bi ye Latino asankrofo no mo free Mexico ne sa area no aha mo de from Latinos no baako ne Latino a wewu say in 2014 na ebane sen na Ghana National Cathedral a 2014 sa time na President Akufo-Addo mbae National Cathedral a Ghana yesi ebane sen yetumi ko register ewo bi din mu an ba konekra na sa ya kwa hu ne se wewu in 2014 intino resist serious issues of identity theft. National Cathedral ba kwa yesi insensem bebre yan hwe ya American government kra na be say wo mo investigate this National Cathedral and because in some way APM eba no. Now the first episode Okudzeto first episode that will be released here, the American edition of the National Cathedral no. Obetre addresses any crofo otredako edin bia APM in the registration any address bia ya register say National Cathedral no the address wo now National Cathedral Secretariat no the response by our better said the reason why I register Otredako as a board member no and they say a interim board na Otredako no or ye Ghanaian or ye Ghanaian lawyer but cathedral and some no say or the nakumeni nashim interne register ni din ewom. I mean that's the response the National Cathedral Secretariat the by address ni so asema wa moka ya Okudzeto ko address ona ngrofo na was address no the agency a wo manage this address and say wo nim National Cathedral ho nsem bia no. Now what the secretariat said in response and they say oh no a holding address inti ka say holding address a enya address a e bia National Cathedral no ewo hwankasa physical da bi but nsem bia ba ye to me the call na National Cathedral for no omo attorneys no eyimi omo asutri no omo akwaje. That's what they said. Now, Okudzeto is bringing the second episode. In the second episode, no shall say responded to National Secretariat no in some way. Now, I say, as promised, here we go with episode 2 of the American edition of National Cathedral Scandals, which is bound to hit many Ghanaians like artillery bombardment. Permit me, however, to briefly respond to the rather hollow, evasive, and disingenuous May 2nd, 2023 press release from the National Cathedral Secretariat in reaction to the grave matters I raised in episode 1 of the American edition. And to say this is part 2 or the bad now, so answer no part 2 next no Ghana for Yeman Ekwan now one responded to National Cathedral for some more mobile. Now I say the Secretariat could not refute the incontrovertible fact that the Washington DC address published on its website, which they now claim to be a holding place, is a deceptive and deliberately misleading claim. Neither the Incorporated National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum Foundation Incorporation of the all their agents have an office at the said address. This is the reason the Secretariat is unable to provide the specific office and floor of the 12-story apartments which serves as their so-called holding place. Intino say or say Osha response National Cathedral for na ediaba. I mean they are admitting say omu ni place bia ewo ho a holding place but as into to mean tre baby our office ewo. Or see 2 the secretary claims the current board of the US Incorporated National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum Foundation Incorporated, which leaves out all the eminent clergy on the board of trustees in Ghana, is only an interim board set up by the Secretariat and their US consultants for registration purposes. Also, this is yet another fat false claim, as all official documents prove otherwise. Indeed, there is nothing interim about the current arrangement, which has persisted for more than 2 years. It is also patently false that all the board has been doing its registration. I have unassailable evidence that the board has done far more than the board has done far more than that including receiving massive donation. I mean, let me cool down and read it. Now, I'll say I have unassailable evidence that the board has done far more than that, including massive donations. More evidential details of this in subsequent editions. Now, National Cathedral for nsemo a wo ba kan ne say senya mema oti ase no otre da kon edin a epiemu ene Dr. Vemom da kon din a epiemu no omo tre se omo ye interim board members na ade a wo ye ya ne se wo register ena Okudzeto ablakwa aka say yentro. There's nothing interim about them. Now, omo aye things are a year more than just registration. Now, in subsequent episodes, no, or the beba, that's what Okudzeto is saying. Now, the third point, so see, the Secretariat also creates the firm impression that only one incorporation has been carried out in the US, and that it happened before the Attorney General's opinion dated January 6, 2022. Clearly, the Secretariat was hoping that I will not be aware of another incorporation which was carried out long after the Attorney General's advice. I can now reveal in the spirit of truth and accountability on the 2nd of September 2022, an additional application was made for another National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum Foundation Incorporated to be incorporated in Illinois. This application was certified and approved on October 2nd, 2022. Interestingly, the articles of incorporation in my possession make Vernon Dakun the president and director Eric Otre Dakun a secretary and director and Paul Opoku Mensah a director. Now, Okudzeto nsemo can say eya Ghana for say Sa National Cathedral registration ayaye wa Washington DC no eye no pe. In fact, social response National Cathedral for ne edeba ya wo mo tre se eye sa registration ne pe no mo aye. Okudzeto say wasanso akwa finding out a different registration e wo different states. I friend the Illinois. Na sa Illinois state no sa Vernon Dakun yes wo kan interim board ne ho no. Yaye wo numum president of the National Cathedral e wo Illinois. Ena Eric Otre Dakun ya the secretary. Ena Paul Opoku Mensah ya wo ye executive director wa Ghana he ono so ya the director e wo Illinois ho. Until they were saying say Washington pe no moye registration. Okudzeto is saying say dabi sisi ano wasanso akwa find another one e wo Illinois. Now what's it for? It was the Secretariat which informed Parliament last year that Kareli Semes Nehemiah Group has been handed out $6 million or the equivalent of 28.2 million Ghana cedis at the time it was paid. That is when we requested expenditure breakdown of the unconstitutional withdrawals. The new figure of less than $1 million lacks both exactitude and credibility. In any case, we insist that Kareli Semes must refund the Ghanaian people's money and the Secretariat must now account for the shortfall of more than $5 million. Now, Osha Secretariat no response a wamo de bre Okudzeto na. Omo katro Okudzeto say, sa Kareli Semes of the ML group no, enye $6 million ni demand no, yema no $1 million. And Okudzeto ka say, abo me de me menka hio. Parliament ni yesre mo cathedral for no. Say mo fa figures ne mbera ne he. Mo di figures ne ba no mo ka tren say, mo ma sa Nehemiah group ni pay 6 million. Inti ende se wawo beka se ye 1 million ena mo ma ya. Yesre parliament akonta mo ba bebutre yen na se a short 5 million. Inti 5 million na fahin because beka tre parliament say 6 million. And in response no o ka say 1 million pen na mo ma no inti 5 million na we. That's the question Okudzeto Ablakwa is asking. Also, it is not lost on Ghanaians that the Secretariat cleverly avoided the incredible discovery of how Kareli Semes Nehemiah Group address in Springfield, Missouri, metamorphosed into a dilapidated warehouse with the inscription Churchill Coffee Company, Warehouse Division. They can run, but they can't hide. It's in Okudzeto, Ocean the first like. But listen, as someone make can say, Mo Amobe Okudzeto no. Teach him how to create a thread on on Twitter. Teach him how to create a thread on Twitter. Okay, we no Sansobeka say the confused attempt to explain away the damning finding of Dr. Paul Poku-Mensah and Carrie Lee Summers sharing the same address by claiming it was just to incorporate another strange entity known as the National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum of Africa Foundation must definitely be reserved for the Marines. Now, let's move on to the much anticipated episode 2. The identity theft is considered a very serious federal crime in the United States of America. The Identity Theft and Assumption Deterrence Act of 1998, ITADA, which amended Title 18 of the United States Code 18 USC and 1028 to include specific provisions related to identity theft, is a really dreaded law. Many have been convicted for the crime of identity theft in cases where they have wrongfully acquired another person's personal identifying information for fraud or deception for economic gain. Into Okudzeto trend semu ebie Ghana fo ni say ye will be a friend identity theft e America ho na ya chinkofo bebre identity theft na tre say enyo no na so wonam e na wo ye ne ho say meye asomesi omochewa waso be hye o say personal identifying information include social security numbers, credit card information, driver's license numbers, bank account and pins, and birth or death certificates. I say under ITADA, it is a federal crime to knowingly transfer or use without lawful authority a means of identification of another person with the intent to commit or to aid or abet any unlawful activity that constitutes a violation of federal law or a felony under any applicable state or local law. Inti Otremu identity theft no, how it is a federal crime and how under government and a security agency be what America hono sen ye ya na omonfasa identity theft ade we in diagro or tre say identity theft no personal identification information no includes social security number, ne credit card, ne driver's license, ne nyama no. So he's giving the background to the whole thing. Now I say only last week, a woman from Trinidad and Tobago was sentenced in Miami to a combined period of some 5 years for her role in the submission of fraudulent loan applications seeking more than $9.2 million in forgivable paycheck protection program loans guaranteed by the Small Business Administration under the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security. Okay, into what Remu, Miami be send ye chain or Miami, nini na identity theft in sensemi ebe posi in a story say Ghana fongongo follow through. Or say it has now been established by the Federal Trade Commission, a consumer protection agency in the US, that identity theft reports in 2020 were more than triple the number from 2018. Cases reached 387,615 in 2020. 650,523 in 2019, 444,344 in 2018. Or say it is 2022 data. Or say its 2022 data is still high at 1.1 million reports of identity theft. This has been largely due to nefarious schemes to lay hands on the trillions of dollars the US government made available for COVID-19 relief. Painstaking Okudzeto nya ka painstaking pe also who say afi what the name sem neighbor. Or see painstaking and unimpeachable investigations shockingly reveal that the March 2021 incorporation of the National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum Incorporated in Washington D.C. was criminally executed through identity theft. Okay, ntienye Illinois dia no we Washington D.C. dia na. Or say Washington D.C. dia na we hu achi omo through investigations. Say National Cathedral registration na ye through sa identity theft wa bo a home record e Ghana for say e chrono kesi America enfin diagro. Or say by an intercepted IRS tax exempt letter dated December 13th, 2021, I can confirm that the employer ID number for the National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum Foundation Incorporated is and our number neto. Further irrefutable forensic investigations reveal that the social security number of 863-85-9197 used to generate the cathedral's employer ID number belongs to one Jones Salgado. See evidence attached. Also, deeper investigations and impregnable gold standard validation, which include a report from police database, has established that 31-year-old Jose Salgado, who has many aliases, including Jose Luis de La Paz, Jose Isabel Salgado, Jose Luis Paz, and Jose LD, was born in March 1983 and died on September 17, 2014. See extract attached. It has therefore emerged beyond any scintilla of doubt that the social security number of a deceased young male Hispanic who died 9 years ago was fraudulently used to incorporate Ghana's National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. Into obi awewu 9 years ago. Nenkrata ena yede akwa register National Cathedral no. Charlie, this is serious. And I see a man yame na trese FIFA aseme kreni. Also clearly, it seems those responsible for this gross international embarrassment knew Jose Salgado's death was yet to be formally reported to all the relevant US authorities and decided to take dubious but costly advantage. It Okudzeto say, even the American government in Krano, Omunim says Jose Salgado iwewu. It no Okudzeto koye investigation no, or the branch and information in Aba Bontiatre say a branch and wewu 9 years ago. Enti enkrofo American government yen country almost say a branch in ewunti enkrofo you so a branch in din edidi bone na Ghana for yen so ye de akwa akwa hye National Cathedral no ye de a branch din edi bone. Also unfortunately, Dr. Venom Dakon and Eric Otre Dakon, the statement issued by the National Cathedral Secretariat dated May 2nd, 2023, appears to implicate them in this latest super explosive scandal when Dr. Paul Opoku-Mensah wrote, one of the requirements for the incorporation is to have a U.S. social security number. The two alleged faceless individuals provided the needed legal documentation to enable the registration to be completed. It is purely incredulous. Obika incredulous and not say unbelievable. Or say it is purely incredulous that these grave crimes would be associated to the building of the Lord's temple. Regardless of the sharp rise in identity theft in the US, it is most unimaginable and absolutely sacrilegious that the incorporation of God's temple would be so desecrated. Inti, ose wo hwe letter eba na omo ayebo mudin lawyer ye friend Notre Dakon ene Dr. Venom Dakon em se wo mo eno mo nsa hye saa de we ase because you say o register ewo America e wo say o register with obi a owo social security number and then the ban say na social security number no obi a wewu 9 years ago ne de ne social security number kokko register I say at the very least the criminal masterminds should have considered the reputations of the genuine eminent priest who accepted government invitation to serve as board of trustees. As the international disgrace reaches crescendo, one really wonders what else President Akufo-Addo is waiting for to dissolve the board of trustees, close down the secretariat, abrogate the contract, and institute a national inquiry into deplorable affair. SOA into Okudzeto investigative team no. SOA oversight. Into say SOA oversight shall be back next week with episode 3 for God and country. Inti wama proof a etre abranche na owu ye no ni details ni bibia na waka say next week or the episode 3 ebeba me hu ne say more details your friend saying Imani Africa for epenyi baako Bright Simmons and also the more details about Betuja will confirm say yes indeed abranche no a ye de ne social security number e register National Cathedral no oyobia wewu in 2014. This is serious and this is the information that Okudzeto Edi aba betuja. This is extremely serious. Enyasem kitwa. Hey, Charlie. No, this is serious. This is serious. Now, and that Osha are buying communicators in some way or they are not disputing the fact that Okudzeto dey bao. As someone who can say, and Okudzeto information say, I then order to Facebook, and then a Facebook no order to on pass it through the right procedure. And then yeah, they shall on pass it through the right procedure. First, Mosha say end obwa, and then they won't pass it through the right. Ghana for you say ya near penal. Young go far right procedure be and send them ebe or the bay way ye Okudzeto the install or serializing na Ghana for nehu. Right procedure sa na asem no yente hwe say ya na person ye no. Nti no, montra mwajo comment box ni mu. Bedase.